Alright, for this one, I'm just gonna do the movie poster and like genuinely nothing else. Sorry about that. Today I'm doing Scream. This one, I actually kind of shocked me. I expected it to be as good as it was. I really enjoyed it. When you view it more of as a comedy than a horror movie, it kind of it makes it a little better. It's a very meta film. The entire thing is about cliches in horror movies, and it kind of subverts all of them. The main character survives at the end, and she kills both of the killers, and that's a big part of it. And it like jokingly, it plays on a lot of the cliches, the tropes and stuff of horror movies, and it uses them in a pretty fun way. I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed like Halloween, which I watched earlier this year, and I enjoyed it way more than that. I think overall it works well, and the comedy elements of it are very good. Yeah, so brief synopsis: the main girl basically is stalked by this ghost-faced killer who keeps calling her and saying like, "Oh, we're gonna play a game, whatever." The girl in the beginning, she gets killed, and it's like this guy again in a ghost mask, and he runs around like really fast. He stabs people with like a hunting knife, and you're introduced to kind of the main cast, which is a guy named Stu. The main character's boyfriend, Billy, and then there's a few other characters that are super important. But basically, at the end of the day, the ghost-faced killer just kills a bunch of people, and then it's revealed that it's actually two people. It's Stu and Billy from before, which that's a really good twist, and I think that's a fun concept as a horror movie. Is it's two killers the whole time, because like you see things happening, you think they're supernatural elements, but in reality, it's just two people. Some of my likes, it breaks a lot of tropes and concretes them in comedic fashion. It'll use tropes and cliches to add a punchline or to make something funny. I thought that it was done pretty well, and overall the comedic aspects of the film are very good. I really like the killer. I think it's probably the most interesting like horror movie killer I've seen so far. Like the way that like they go about killing people is like just very straightforward. They just run up to them and stab them a bunch. I mean, this is definitely one of the more realistic horror movies I've seen. Like the people trying to escape them will just like throw shit at them, and like the killers get the absolute shit kicked out of them. Like they genuinely, like, you'll hear them going like grunting and like getting hit, and they'll like get back up like slowly and like try to chase them down, and they'll get annoyed when they can't catch them because the main character is actually really smart in this, and she constantly is avoiding them because they're kind of idiots and they keep messing up. Some of the concepts are played very fun. Like the whole like 30-second delay thing when the reporter sets up the camera in the room, you have that 30-second delay, so you see it behind him, and he's like, "Oh, look behind you," and the guy looks out, there's like, "Wait, 30-second delay" or whatever, and then he gets like killed. And I thought that was played off really well, and the entire like sequence played really well because you see it happen there, so you kind of get a mind of this is happening as they're speaking. So you see the door open, so you said, "Oh, this is happening 30 seconds ago, so he's probably out there now," and then right when you start thinking that, bam, it happens. I thought that was really well done. Just overall, the acting was pretty good. I love Matthew Lillard. I think he's one of my favorite actors. I would say he does really well in this film. His energy is so crazy, especially at the end. He's tweaking. There's one part where he's like spitting as he's talking. He's like going on a psychotic rant. You can see spit flying out of his mouth. I just thought it was really fun. Overall, the acting in this film was not bad at all. Billy was probably the worst just because it was super cliche, but not in like a funny way. Like it was just kind of like But Matthew Lillard, like, low-key carried this film. I thought he was really good. The lead, she was alright. To get to some dislikes, the lead was a little bland. I didn't really care. She was kind of like lame comparatively to the rest of the film, which is very like kind of nuanced. She is like kind of a basic protagonist, I would say. I kind of feel like they should have gone a different route. I guess her whole idea of her being like an intelligent like horror movie protagonist is the interesting thing, but then again, her as a character is just kind of bland. The final scene went on for way too long. Like when they're finally like fighting them, like it's like I think it's supposed to be cliche, but still, regardless, it goes on for way too long. You keep having these back and forths. It lasts like 10 minutes, and it really could have been like a 4-minute sequence. And besides that, like, there wasn't much wrong with the film. It's just nothing crazy. It's just a fun horror movie. Like it's a comedy horror movie. It's a comedic. It's basically a spoof. Like it's a spoof before a spoof. And which is funny because Scary Movie is spoofing this, even though this is honestly a spoof of horror movies. the thematic elements, I guess, could be pointed at like people are crazy, like they'll watch what happens in horror movies and try to replicate it or do something more interesting, which is like a line they said. I think that's stupid. I don't think anyone's watching Halloween is like, oh, I want to go around and stalk people and kill them. Like, if you're gonna stalk and kill people, you're just like crazy. I don't think horror movies really incentivize that, but still, they didn't really linger on that. There wasn't much like core thematic elements. This movie was very centered on the twist and the fun of it, and I think it excelled in that category. But yeah, the twist at the end and everything building up to that made this movie really good for me. Yeah, so there's some other stuff about this that I like, but I'm gonna wrap this up. My overall rating, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. So far, I would say this is my favorite like classic slasher that I've seen. Which there's not much to compare it to, but still, I really liked this Scream. I thought it was pretty funny. I'll probably end up watching the second one maybe later into the 100 Days, but for right now, this was kind of the first horror movie I guess I watched. I wouldn't really consider Heretic a horror movie. I wouldn't consider this a horror movie either. So I guess I haven't really seen a true horror movie yet. But yeah, I really like Scream, 8 out of 10. Comparing my review to Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 77% on Tomato Meter and an 80% on Popcorn Meter. So an 8 is pretty much the status. That's what everyone kind of thinks. So I don't really have a crazy opinion on this. I personally found it really good. Like, I actually really liked it. I'm usually not big on horror movies, but I think I think this did it in a way to where it was like interesting. So yeah, that's Scream. I don't know when we'll watch tomorrow. Goodbye.